Hi. A couple of months ago, my husband witnessed my cat do something unspeakable on our carpet. It was at that moment that we realized we had to get rid of our carpet as soon as possible. We didn't know what was underneath the carpet, but we were prepared either way. If it was disgusting under there, then we would just put vinyl flooring on. And if it was hardwood, then we would go through the process of refinishing it. I don't have pretty well any good before photos. I just have this one, which I will put here, that shows the culprit and his buddy. You can see in this photo how cluttered this space was before we started taking out the carpet. We pulled up the carpet, and underneath the carpet was linoleum, which also looked gross. It was probably put in the 70s, judging by the design. Pulling up that first layer of carpet, we could see how good a decision we made deciding to pull it up, because carpet is really gross. There was a lot of dirt. Linoleum was really easy to peel up. We had wood floors. They were very damaged from the previous people who put the linoleum on top. They had tried to fix some of the squeaks in the floor, but they pounded the nails in so deep. As best as we can tell, the floor is Douglas fir. Technically it's a softwood, but it's pretty durable for flooring. After pounding down the nails, we sanded everything, and then we filled all the holes in the cracks with filler, and then we sanded everything again and put on the floor finish. And that sounds like a quick job, but it took us about a month of work in between our actual jobs. Whenever we weren't at our actual job, we were sanding the floor or doing something so that this project could be done. And it was really nice to be finally done with the floors so that we could start putting things back. The floors look great. I don't regret it at all. In the process of doing all of this flooring, we had very minimal furniture in the living room that we really liked having less clutter. We decided that we were going to keep the living room and pretty well the whole house less cluttered. That is all the background information, and that brings us to the premise of this video. This video is a documentation of me putting everything into the living room to make it a more functional space again. I want to do this as sustainably as possible, using things we already have or things that I can get from the thrift store. So enjoy the process of me redoing my living room. So this is my plan. This window here, I've made these curtains out of old tablecloths and the curtains that were in here before. I used to have a crochet doily banner that I made draped over the top of the curtain rod, and I'm gonna sew those to the curtain right at the brown spot there where the green and the brown meet. This window needs a curtain. This door has a curtain, but I'm going to redo it in like a patchwork style so that it's more cottagecore and adorable. For the couch area here, we have these bolster cushions that I made out of fabric I got from the thrift store. I want to crochet log cushions. I found a free pattern, and I got a whole lot of free brown and white yarn. I'm going to put down rugs here. There's some bits and bobs that I need to add back. In the back corner there, you see I have my sport equipment. I don't need that orange roll anymore, so I'm going to donate that. And these green mats are yoga mats, but they're way too thin, so I'm going to use those under my carpet so that they don't slide around. Then I have a basket full of blankets that I'm going to put over there. I want to crochet some adorable doily coasters to go, one here and one on my husband's side. Other little bits I need to do is patch up a bunch of the holes in the wall and repaint. Hi, I pulled out all the nails and the screws from the wall as well as the thermostat, and I filled all the holes. I go to work in an hour. Tomorrow I'm off, so tomorrow I should be able to paint. next day. I just finished sanding and touching up all of the spots on the wall that needed to be repainted. Unfortunately, it appears that my paint is a different sheen than what was put on the walls before. When my husband moved into the house, there was no paint left over, so we didn't know what color it was. So I took a little piece that I peeled off the wall to the paint shop, and they guessed the sheen, and apparently they guessed wrong. I'm trying to decide whether I care enough to repaint the whole living room. Why postpone the inevitable? I may as well just do it. I'm gonna repaint the living room. I finished repainting the entire room and cleaning up all the paint and stuff, and then I took a shower, and then I took a nap. I've laid out a couple of fabrics for the high window, some thicker fabrics, which won't let the sun through because the morning sun shines in my eyes. So I'm gonna make 2 panels. I've taken the measurements of the window that is 30 inches by 51 inches. And since I'm going to do 2 panels, I'll do 52 inches divided by 2, which is 26. So I'll do 26 inches by 30 inches. Today, I'm going to start piecing together the curtains. My goal is to use up all these denim scraps. I already made a denim jacket out of these scraps, and these didn't fit it into the jacket. So I'm going to try and make the curtains exclusively out of these, but I do have these scrub scraps left over, so if I run out of fabric, I can use these as well. This brown and this gray, I don't love the color of, so whenever the whole curtain's done, I'm probably going to dye it, and I'll dye it green this time, not blue. I know, I surprised you, didn't I? So you can see all the raw edges are hidden. This isn't the neatest job because the denim is thick, but I'll continue on just like that. There's been a change of plans. The denim is too thick for my sewing machine to handle, and I have a heavy duty sewing machine. It's like made for this type of thing. So I don't know what I'm gonna use this leftover denim for because it's all very thick pieces. Maybe I can just make shop rags or something because my husband's been doing a lot of woodworking, so this might work well for stain. I don't know. But in the case of this curtain, it's decided I'm going to use these scrubs. So I'm just going to follow the same method I was doing with the denim, cutting a rectangle and then matching a rectangle and then flat filing the seams, and I'll show you when I'm done. This windowsill is unfinished. This is pretty much just raw wood. And then the window itself, all the caulk was taken off. You can see there's still remnants here, but it's all gone. So I'm gonna get some polyurethane and refinish this windowsill, scrape off all of the gross old caulk and put new caulk in. I also Need to wash this window, though that's on the outside. Hello. It is a few days later. Curtains. I've been making these curtains out of scrubs. This is the progress so far. I don't know if you can see that. They're almost done. What we're using as a curtain rod in there right now isn't actually a curtain rod. We had to redo a screen because one of our cats destroyed it. And so it's like that really expensive edging for screens that we're using as a curtain rod. And we could use that for screens. My husband's cleaning out the garage. I don't know if you can hear the banging in the background, but he's redoing the floor in there. And I found this curtain rod, which is rusty. It has no end pieces, which I think are important to open and close it. I need the end pieces so that the curtain rod stays where it's supposed to be. I looked in a little jar of tidbits that we got from my mother-in-law, and I found these hooks. Oh darn, they don't fit. I was hoping that because they have a screw here, I could just screw those in here. That's not gonna work. I went to the thrift store yesterday and I got this curtain rod, which has these end pieces, which will be enough to hold the curtain in place. This was $1. It isn't long enough for the window. Taking these off, I'm putting them on this rod. The thing is, the smaller one is too big for this. So I'm gonna tape that, put this on, and we're golden. But first I have to sand off the rust on this and then probably spray paint it so that the rust doesn't get onto my curtain. The other thing is I bought the sealant for the windowsill that I need to refinish, the polyurethane. So that I didn't already have, so we needed to get that, but we're gonna be refinishing all the wood trim next year, so we're gonna use it anyway. So we got the big tin. Hi! I finished the construction of this curtain and I've hung it up temporarily because it's doing an excellent job of keeping the heat out of this room. I still have to finish the curtain rod as well as the windowsill. I spent some time this morning sanding down the windowsill. I have put down the first layer of polyurethane. It requires 3 coats. The next coat I'll put down in about half an hour. I spray painted the curtain rod, so now I can put these on. Fits on that side. So I just have to do this side, which will require a bit of tape. Okay, now that fits. Black curtain rod with silver end bits. Cool. That's all ready to go up whenever I'm done polyurethane, so I'll probably put that up tomorrow after work. You may have seen the footage already of me dyeing these curtains. Here's how it turned out. There was a label here, so that didn't dye quite as well. But I'm glad everything's a more cohesive color now. So those are ready to go up whenever the sill is polyed as well. My parents are coming over today. What this has made me realize is I don't have enough sitting places in here, seating area. When we pulled out the carpet, my husband and I discussed getting a rocking chair from Facebook Marketplace to sit here for extra seating. But something that we already have is in the basement. We have this chaise lounge. I don't know if that's what it's called. You can tell me in the comments what it's properly called. So my husband got that for free from his coworker a couple years ago. I'm gonna pull that upstairs, give it a clean, and eventually I'm going to reupholster it, but I don't have enough time to do that today because my parents are coming over in a couple hours. When I was at the thrift store yesterday, I saw these placemats that are shaped like leaves. I didn't get them, but I was very tempted by them. And I think like the giant leaf placemats and they're little like padded would be perfect to sit on this chair that I'm going to bring up so that those collect all the fur and I can wash those more easily than the chair or the couch or the chaise lounge or whatever it is. So I think I'm going to go back to the thrift store and see if they're still there. If they're not, I'll figure out something to make my own leaf things because I think the giant leaf placemats with the log bolster cushions is a really cute, whimsical touch to this room. I have to caulk this window. This is the window with the curtains. I have caulked the window. I made a few mistakes, but I should be able to cut away the caulk that got on the glass. I've brought this chair thing up from the basement. I've cleaned it. I took off the old feet and put on floor protectors. And then there was a lot of black fabric just hanging out from the bottom. I cut that off because I did vacuum up a few spiders and I just wanted to make sure that I got them all. I don't actually hate this color. TBD on whether I'm going to reupholster this or not. It's a different color than I remember. I thought it was more orange, but it's more red, which goes really well with the rugs. I'm still gonna get those leaf placemats once the thrift store opens. Thrift haul! Those green leaf placemats were still there, but they were quite a bit smaller than I remembered. They weren't the best made either. So I picked up this green material and this green tablecloth, which was $3.50. This one has an interesting texture on it. And I'm going to use these two things to make my own leaf placemats. But they're going to be more like leaf cushions that go on this chair thing. I still don't know what to call it. I don't know if you can tell, but my cats love this chair. They think I brought it up just for them. It's covered in their fur. And I just put this up here a week ago. Granted, it is summer, so they're shedding a lot. But I think it's time that I start working on those leaf mats I'm gonna put up here. This is the fabric I got from the thrift store. This isn't super big. I'm kind of disappointed by the size. I feel like I was tricked. I was swindled. I'll use that for something else. This piece is a tablecloth folded in four. And I think that this is a pretty good size for the leaf cushions. I've decided to go for a lilac leaf shape because that's just that like typical leaf shape, which will be easy to cut out of a rectangle of fabric. I want this to be a little bit thick and a little bit heavy so that the cats can't lift it up and pull it around. Instead of doing quilt batting, which I was planning to do, I'm going to use this flannel fabric I have left over from a different project. I'm just going to use this as wadding, and then I'll do stitching of the veins on the leaf as well. And I'll use my machine for that because I can't use my wrist. That's 2 layers of pieced flannel, and then I'll grab one of the non-pieced flannel to go on top and hold those pieces in place. Then I'll pull 2 of the leaf shapes out of the way and then just start sticking pins in and sew around the leaf, leaving a gap to turn it right side out. Time to flip it right side out. So there's a couple of layers of fabric here. There's the 3 layers of flannel and then the 2 layers of this green fabric, and I'm just gonna open it up right at the green fabric and flip it out that way. Should have left a bigger hole. I'm going to top stitch, tucking in these raw edges. don't know. Like, I knew the leaf shape wasn't the most practical, but I still expected it to be more practical than this. Let's test it. What do you think, buddy? Actually, I think I do like it. Let's start with something easy. I made these curtains out of the old curtains that were hanging in the window when I moved in. It's a curtain. I reused the top bit and added this tablecloth I got at the thrift store. I really like having the green curtains because when the light filters through, it's almost like it's done through trees, so the green's really nice. I made this bunting that I just crocheted. I hung this over the curtain bar. It looked kind of messy. My new plan, I'm just gonna sew the bunting and then the curtains are a bit more decorative and I can still use this bunting that I spent so long on. If I keep it attached to this green string, it's too long. I think I'm gonna undo the green string. I've packed up this board equipment we don't use, the foam roller, and then the foam blocks for yoga. And I'm going to take those to the thrift store today. And that significantly lessens what's in the sport corner. And these two mats aren't going to be here anymore because I'm going to use them under carpets. I have a wicker basket in the other room that I'm going to use to put the sport equipment in. So I just have to organize these cords. We can just hook them to the wall with a hook, and then that's more organized and this isn't an eyesore anymore. The floors are still pretty bare. We got a cat, but I have some carpets that I'm gonna put down also. I found these cable ties on my husband's desk. He just got a new computer and these came with his computer. There's 4 here, so that should be enough to tidy the cords in that corner. I found these hooks in the tool to bit thing that we got from my husband's mom. And then also this really fancy hook. I don't know if I'm gonna use this, but it pivots and twists, so it's like really fancy. I think it's meant for like hanging a light or something, but it'll work for cord organization as well. So I have 4 hooks, all different sizes, all different makes, but that's fine. This is my cord organizing kit. I also want to make a little mat to go under the weights in my sport corner to protect the floor. I sewed this all together by hand. This quilt is when I initially injured my wrist, and that's when I started to really have to be more careful with the amount of hand movements I do. I don't want this quilt to go to waste, but I'm also never gonna finish quilting this. Instead, I'm gonna use this as the top and bottom of a little quilted mat. As wadding, I'm going to use my flannel scraps. This is where I want to put that little quilted mat, just under these weights. I want to do another patchy curtain. This one with lighter fabrics because it doesn't need to keep the sun out. And in front of this door, I also want to utilize my scraps to make a rag rug that fits perfectly right in this area. This is where I want the rag rug to be. And I'm following a tutorial that I saw on YouTube, which I will link below. You can see I've added my blanket basket there. This is the pile of scraps I want to use for this other curtain. I'm really pleased with how much scraps the other curtains used. It used up all of my scrubs that I had left over, as well as a bunch of the denim too, so that's great. I have a lot more space in my scrap bin. These curtains, which will hopefully use most of this pile, for the rug, I cut all of my scraps into strips 1.5 inches wide on the straight grain. I sewed them together diagonally so that there's less bulk there. I'm in the process of sewing it in half with an 1/8 inch seam allowance. Once that's all sewn together, I cut it to length and then flip them all inside out. I find that easier than the method that the tutorial gave, which was to iron it in half, then iron it in quarters, and then sew that down. Once that's all put together, I'll use some of the yarn that I have from my coworker. This scarf and this yarn, which is pretty unpleasant. It feels unpleasant. I don't think I would use this against my skin. And it's blue and brown, which fits pretty well with the color story of my scraps anyway. I think that this will work very well as the warp threads for the carpet. That rug is going faster than I anticipated, but it is definitely a very time-intensive project. So I've laid out all my loops, all my strips in front of the door where I want this rug to go. I've tried to do it in a single layer as tightly as I can. I want it to go directly from the edge of the door here to the edge of the door here. So I still need more strips. So I'm gonna cut up some more of my remnants because all my scraps are gone now. You're looking at them. An important piece of information that you should have is I have 3 cats. So the cats have to be able to be comfortable in this living space as well. So we used to have 2 cat towers in here. I tore one apart. I tore this apart with my bare hands. I just stabbed myself on one of these staples. It's a good thing I have my tetanus. Anyway, what I want to do with this board, once I pull the staples out, is I want to hang it on the wall over there so that the cats have something to scratch. The problem with that is this house is over 100 years old. It's very hard to find studs in this house, which is made even more difficult because the walls are plaster, not drywall, so you can't use a stud finder. After doing some research, I found out that there's typically, if a house is built properly, studs at doors and windows. So I considered putting this cat thing under this window, but my husband rightfully pointed out that the cats don't go in this area very often, but they walk along that wall a lot. So I want to put it over there. So typically, if a house is built properly, I believe it's 16 inches on center is where the studs are supposed to be. And then the older way was 24 inches on center, because there is a door frame there that maybe I can just measure from that, but I don't know if I'm measuring 16 or 24 inches. But there's a vent there that if I pull that vent off, then I may be able to see where the studs are. Yesterday, I finished weaving this rug. In the tutorial, it said it's very important to baste this part together before you cut it down. And I thought that that was a lie, because I was like, there's so much tension here. This is really sturdy. This isn't going to come apart. But as soon as you cut it down, all the tension is gone, which of course that makes lots of sense. Happily, I did follow the basting step, even though I felt it was superfluous. Yeah, I still have to bind the edges of the rug. I really like how this rug looks. I did show you that I started making that curtain for the front door. I ended up using that on the back door. That curtain that I made and was going to put in that door was blue. This curtain and that curtain are green. And I really wanted to stick on the green theme for curtains. I went to the thrift store and I bought some fabric that it's like a green and red checker. I'll show it to you. So there's a stud here, here. 16 on center. I found 2 studs in that wall. I'm gonna vacuum that board and then screw it into the wall. I need to find some screws. What I've done is I found the center of the board and then I measured 8 inches both ways, and that should go directly into the studs. Now I'm gonna drill holes from this side in the 4 corners so that I can put the screws in them and then just screw that directly into the studs. These are the screws I found. They're 2.5 inches. So I've drilled the holes. To find the hole, I have a paper clip. Stick that through the hole. It comes out on this side because the carpet hides where the hole is. And then I use that as a guide to screw in a little by hand. Per my husband's advice, I've switched to an impact driver for this part. Cool! I did it! I used an impact drill for the first time! Woo! Let's get a cat.
Yeah. See?
They're so polite. That's for you! Do you like it, Bean?
He is very polite.
You're the star of the show.
Cat might like rubbing his face against it.
So I went to the thrift store yesterday. I got this fabric. It was, I believe, $2.25, 75% off that. It is enough to make a curtain for the door. It's a cute green plaid with white squares with a red border. And I think that'll look really cute with the other curtains as well as the rugs we have going on in here. A couple days ago, I did a couple prototypes for coasters. So this is the first one I made. And I like how this looks. But then I did my second prototype. This was following a free pattern, which I'll link below. And this was a modification of a different free pattern. I like this one better because I added these picots to the edges, and I think that's really cute. With this one, I'm going to weave in the ends. And then with this one, I'm gonna add picots to the border. And then I'm gonna make two more so that both me and my husband have one for hot drinks and one for cold drink. I think that they are really cute. I don't love the color. I think it's giving snowflake. Whenever I'm done the curtain and I dye those green, I will dye these green as well. So I'm making the log cushions out of this yarn that I got for free. I started one. You can see the colors are pretty good at the end, and then here I'm using 2 balls of brown in slightly different colors, and it makes the color really nice. I've already used an entire ball of this, and this one's already almost empty even though I just started it. I have quite a lot of white yarn that I can use to make birch versions of the log bolster cushions. This yarn that I'm going to use as the surface crochet for this one. This yarn is green with a bit of brown in it, and that looks kind of like moss, so that might be cute to do surface crochet with this as well. In that bag there was this knitted scarf I take apart to make the log cushions. So hopefully I'll have enough brown yarn to make 2 of the brown logs, and then I'll make 2 birch logs as well. I have to make the lining, or the insert cushion. I've put down a carpet. The underlay that I bought to go with it doesn't, I should preface. I have an untrue belief that carpets and rugs are the same thing. I realize that that isn't true because I confuse my husband whenever I say we need to put carpet down. They're rugs. Whenever I mention carpets in this video, except for when I'm mentioning that we took out the carpet, I'm talking about rugs. So that it doesn't confuse you going forward. When I say carpet, I mean rug. I'm trying really hard to say rug, but sometimes I just get in the zone and I forget to say rug and I say carpet. So if that confuses you, I'm sorry. So I put down the rug already in the living room, and I bought a special under carpet thing to go under it. I need to trim that down. I bought these carpets when we weren't sure I bought these rugs when we weren't sure what was going to be under the carpet. We didn't know that there was going to be hardwood under there until we pulled the carpet and the lino up. I panic bought these rugs so that we would have something in case the floor was dangerous to step on. We would have something to walk on. I regret the way that I purchased them. I bought them from trendy online store that I'm not going to mention because I don't want to give them my money anymore and I don't want to bring traffic there. Both the rugs I got from the same place are entirely different qualities. That's the one thing that I did, well, the second thing that I did not use secondhand. I bought brand new. I've placed one of my carpets here This is the one where I got from that unnamed online store, so I'm not going to tell you where I got that. This carpet used to be in the window there with the curtains that I just finished, but this I got from the thrift store. I'm pretty sure it's wool, and I'm pretty sure I only paid $10 for it. I feel like the carpets go nicely together. I also dyed the coasters I made. Here they are. They turned out quite a bit darker than I expected them to, but I don't hate it because I spill coffee on my coasters and it won't show up. But these I didn't put in the dryer, I just laid them flat to dry. They hold their shape pretty nicely. It's been about a week since the last footage that you've seen, and there are a few final tidbits I want to implement to finish this video off. The first thing, when my parents visited, we discovered that the orange couch that I brought up, the felt feet I put on it, are working a little too well. When you sit on the couch, it has no back, so you lean against the wall, and when you're leaning against the wall, it slides the couch forward, which isn't ideal. So I found these rubber feet in the basement that we got from the thrift store a few years ago, and I screwed those into the bottom of the couch and now it doesn't slide. Continuing on this orange couch, I felt like there was a little gap where the leaves met in the middle, and so I wanted to add another leaf in a different color to make it look more like a pile of leaves and also to cover the whole surface of the couch. The leaf is a very strange shape. I did the veins upside down accidentally, so it looks more like a flower bud instead of a leaf, and I'm okay with that. The other couch also slides when you sit down on it, especially if you sit down with a force, which I am wont to do. To fix this problem, because I can't screw the rubber feet into this, I just took one of those thin yoga mats from the beginning of the video and put that underneath the couch, and now it doesn't slide. I had another carpeted board that I wanted to hang above the first carpeted board because my youngest cat, when he claws that board, he tries to pull himself up and it looks like he wants to climb the wall. It had these holes in the carpet. I wanted to disguise these somehow. I didn't have brown paint, but I had gold and black paint, so I just mixed those together and painted the holes. It doesn't disguise it completely, but it definitely makes it less visible. Screwing this into the wall was much more difficult by myself. My husband was at work, so I kind of held it on the wall with my hips and then screwed it in that way, which isn't ideal and it is a little crooked, but the cats don't care about that type of thing. And hopefully this helps my cat's dream of climbing walls come true. The last thing I wanted to do was finish at least one of the log cushions. I knew that I wouldn't be able to finish them all because I'm a very slow crocheter because I have to baby my wrists. My goal was to finish one for this video. How I made the insert was I used some scrap fabric and used the crochet log cushion as a pattern and then just added seam allowance around each piece. I sewed them together, leaving a gap for turning it right side out. And once I turned it right side out, I stuffed it with 2 old pillows that apparently I had stuffed with scrap fabric, as well as my entire bag of thread scraps from the last couple years. Once that was all stuffed, I sewed up the hole, then stuffed that cushion into the crochet log that I had made and crocheted it together around. And now, what you've all been waiting for, the final reveal. I really like how minimal but artsy the room turned out. It is maximum cozy vibes. I didn't add any artwork to the walls in this room because I really like how uncluttered the walls are right now. I may add art eventually, but I'm really enjoying the vibe currently. And now to the sad portion of this video. One of our cats died the last week of filming this video. He had been going downhill for about a year. He was 18 years old, which is a long life for a cat, and we were kind of expecting him to die soon, but it's still hard. This video is dedicated to him. His name was Cat, and enjoy some photos of him. He was quite the snuggle. Here's to Cat.